It's National Signing Week at 24/7 Sports, and we are taking a look at the Miami 2024 recruiting class, which ranks top 5 nationally, #1 in the ACC. The Canes signing the top class in the conference in back-to-back seasons for the first time in the 24/7 Sports era. Gaby Urrutia of Inside the U and Andrew Ivins joining me now to break this down. Guys, we will start with this defensive line class, which could be the best in the country. 8 prospects. The Canes, one of 2 teams to sign 4 defensive linemen ranked inside the top 150, Oregon being the other one. Gaby, how special is this haul?
Yeah, I think it's a big-time haul for Mario Cristobal, for Jason Taylor on his first go-around on the recruiting trail as an on-field assistant. Miami really went into the cycle wanting to sign the best defensive line class in the country. I think it's tough to argue that they didn't, between 5-star defensive tackle Justin Scott. You got 2 premier pass rushers in Armando Blunt out of Miami Central, Marquise Lightfoot out of Chicago, and then a guy like Booker Pickett, who really blew up during the All-Star season, and then plus another group of deep guys, Elias Rudolph off the edge, Cole McConaughey, who had an awesome senior season in the state of Alabama, and Dalen Russell, who's a guy that's local. I mean, I think Miami signed one of the premier, if not the premier defensive line class in the country with that group. Miami's extremely, extremely excited about what they're getting from those guys.
The highest rated skill player in the class is wide receiver JoJo Trader. And Ivins, I love the way you described him in your scouting report. A big play waiting to happen. So what do you like about his game?
Well, he tracks the football better than most in this cycle, and that's saying a lot because it is a loaded year at the wide receiver position. Josiah Trader, or JoJo as the kids call him, finished number 70 in our rankings, and I'm sure, all right, that's not that good of a grade, but again, it's deep. I think previous years he would have been a little bit higher, and what stands out to me about Trader, you just saw that clip, I think he could be a legitimate starting defensive back, a corner, safety in the ACC. He actually played some corner in the Under Armour All-American game, but this is a guy that's kind of lived in the shadows of Jeremiah Smith, our #1 ranked prospect, but he has still shined. We've seen him on the 7-on-7 circuit, saw him in the Under Armour All-America game practices. He was a great route runner, and again, tracking the football over his shoulder, making those highlight reel catches. If Xavier Restrepo, Jacoby George can get 1,000 yards receiving in Shannon Dawson's offense, then Josiah Trader should get 1,500 because we think he's that much more talented.
Keeping local talent home had been a problem for Miami, but Mario Cristobal is starting to change that. Miami signed 14 players from the Sunshine State. 8 of those rank in the Florida top 25, which is more than any other school. Gaby, how important was that for the Canes?
Yeah, I think it was extremely important for Miami to keep, the local talent, in-state talent home. I mean, Mario Cristobal, of course, based in South Florida, one of the talent hotbeds, in the United States. And I think that will always be a top priority for those guys is keeping the best players in the Sunshine State at Miami, keeping the best players in South Florida. That's always going to be a tough task with, programs from all across the country always, coming down to South Florida to try to pluck them away from Mario Cristobal. But I think that he's well on his way to kind of, reestablishing kind of that border around his backyard. He wants to build that fence. And, I think he's doing a better job than previous staffs have, winning guys like, again, the Josiah Trader, Zaquan Patterson, Armando Blunt, getting those 3 guys from, Dayton, Broward County, and then, going, across the state, getting a guy like Derek Plaz in the Jacksonville area who they're extremely excited about away from a school like Florida State. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. Considering what the Hurricanes did in the state of Florida and especially in South Florida.
Gaby, 27 recruits in this class. Who is your sleeper?
Yeah, for me, it's tight end Elijah Lofton. He's maybe not the prototypical tight end as far as his size, stature, 6'2" or in that 230-pound range. But I mean, when he committed to Miami, I was under the impression that he would already be one of the strongest guys in the tight end room, already squats over 500 pounds. Is just a guy that kind of reminds people of Brevin Jordan, who not long ago was making plays as kind of an H-back, in Coral Gables, now starring for the Houston Texans, had a huge touchdown in the playoffs. But he reminds a ton of people of Brevin Jordan. They call him Baby Brevin at Bishop Foreman. He's someone that's going to be able to do a lot of different things in this Miami offense, whether that's working in the backfield, kind of working as an H-back, and they feel like he has the kind of strength to hold up on the line of scrimmage. So Miami is extremely excited about all the different ways that they're going to be able to use a guy like Elijah Lofton.
Love me some Elijah Lofton. Reminds me a little of Orson Charles, the former Georgia tight end. Gabby, I'm going to go Booker Pickett, and this is cheating because he's a guy that rose in our rankings, but he was awesome at the Under Armour All-America game and the Polynesian Bowl. Multiple sacks, multiple forced turnovers in both all-star settings, and it's not surprising. This is someone that had close to 75 sacks as a senior, junior, sophomore. You add them all up. This is a guy that just gets after the quarterback. We were worried about his size and his frame. I thought he looked a little bit bigger in person, and obviously he's going to Miami, which has an excellent strength and conditioning program. He's a pass rush specialist, and I think you need that in this era. They're pairing him with that elite defensive line haul. Marquise Lightfoot had the quickest first step in San Antonio at the All-American Bowl. Booker Pickett had the quickest first step in Orlando at the Under Armour All-America game. He's a guy I'm a big fan of. Reminds me of Chris Rump, who was formerly at Duke, now in the NFL. I think it was a great get. A lot of schools didn't know what to do with Booker Pickett, Jason Taylor, Mario Cristobal. They had a vision, and it could pay off big. But let's not forget, Miami's also got Ruben Bain in the fold for a few more years. They're going to get after the quarterback.
All right, Gaby Urrutia and Andrew Ivins with the latest on the Canes' number 4 recruiting class. Thanks, guys. For more Miami football and recruiting news, check out InsideTheU.com. Gabby and his staff out in Coral Gables have you covered from signing day to the postseason and everything you need to know in between. That's InsideTheU.com.